not?
No, it's still
I
loading.
heard sound for a minute and then it's gone. I'll put the video up.
So I don't know what's wrong with my computer.
No,
But then I
don't
cannot.
worry about it. I'll share. That's fine. So before, okay, I have too many things open. So before we get into the next part of our presentation, we wanted to share a short video. And shout out to Nisa, by the way, for putting together all of these videos. They're amazing. I'm just gonna put this one up and then I'm going to share my screen. Where is it? Share. There we go. Okay. I think you all see, yep, you all see this. Is that coming up okay? Excellent. So we'll just play that.
So the sound is not good for me, but I think it's not important.
Oops. I think it paused. I think I did something. I think it gave up on me for some reason.
It was a bit glitchy too, and the audio.
Yeah, it's playing from my desktop, so I think we're just going to, yeah, sorry about this. We're just going to leave it at this. I think we could make, I think this is on YouTube anyway, so we can share that after in case anyone wants to take a look after. Ada, do you want me to share the slides or do you want to give it a go?
Yes, share the slides like this. We don't
Okay. Got it.
time because I don't know what's going on. It's the first time this happens.
That's okay. We're see everything is running very smooth up till now. So I need to stop sharing and then I'm going to take the slides. Where are they? Just kind of do a quick introduction of what we're going to be talking about next. And I know we've got some folks waiting on the sidelines that are really excited about sharing their project. So let me get the slides up first. Okay. Zoom is really not your friend.
Today, I don't know why. Normally it works.
I know. I don't know what's going on. I'm on desktop.
Maybe I can just get started without the slides about the intro.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just do that because it's, I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
So we're going to start the next section of our summit. It's about data physicalization. It's one of my favorite topics, I have to say. I don't know how I ended up giving up on all my amazing ideas for this project and just working on a little workshop with my daughter that I might share lately. But I was very excited to see all the submissions from the other people. Nisa prepared this video that you can see later with all kinds of examples of data physicalization. And I think data physicalization is a bit underused and is very powerful because it removes so many barriers. I think the moment you don't have computers, people is less afraid of the data. It also gives you other materials. It gives you possibilities to get rid of statistical charts and so many other things that are very engaging for the users. So yeah, we wanted to give it a go at the Base for Social Good, and here we are. And from all the fantastic submissions, we have selected 3 of them, and we will have now our volunteers presenting them. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, it's been really great seeing all of the entries come in and people getting really, really creative with that. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but the things that people have put together, I just find amazing. So I'm really excited about being able to introduce some of the folks that have built things. First up is going to be Victor. I don't think he needs any introductions because he's I think Sarah kind of gave a sneak preview already of what he's been working on. So Victor, you come to us from, I think, Colombia, but you said you were in Crete, right? Right now, you're somewhere else. And Victor is an inspiring information designer, and he put something together that's pretty amazing. So I'm just going to hand the floor to him. And Victor, if you want to share your presentation and kind of take everyone through your process and what you've built, I think that'll be great. Yeah. Well, you obviously know how to share presentations. Sorry.
Can you see my screen right now?
I can see your screen and we can hear you. So
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead.
Thank you very much. So thank you so much for the introduction and all the team of Bees for Social Good for this invitation. I was really happy just to share the experience that I have with this project. So I have it right here. I cannot see myself right now, but maybe yeah, this one. I'm just going to explain how I built this visualization and all the activities that I have during this process. So wait a minute. So as you know, this project was, the main goal was to create a visualization using physical objects. And for me, it took me by surprise because at the time I was just focused on develop my technical skills in Tableau. And then when I heard that, I was like, there are so many possibilities that you can make visualization with data objects. So what I'm going to present at the end. So one of the things that I was having at the beginning, one of the problems was struggling with the creativity. And then for the past months, I found that developing some habits can help you to get inspiration and also develop this creativity. So in this case, I just took all the resources that the team shared with us and I put it on a list. And every day I was just checking one of them. And as you can see here, I was just taking the pictures, putting some notes, putting what I like, what I was interested in, something that maybe calls my attention. And then with just having all of this, I was like, okay, now I have like a sense with data physicalization. It was like the first time that I heard that term. So for me, it was very new in this process, but I really enjoy it. At the same time, I also start collecting some visualizations related to the subject of this process. So in this case, I start collecting data visualizations related to climate change. And as you can see, it was like a different visualization. It doesn't have to be just physicalization, but also some digital visualizations. So it took me like 2 weeks and a half just to start like, okay, what I want to do, what I want to present. That was the first question that I have. And the inspiration just come for me so random. So as Marian said, right now I'm in Greece, but when I was doing this process, I was in Turkey. I was staying in Istanbul, and for me, it was a coincidence how this inspiration just came to me because I needed to travel to Ankara, the capital of Turkey, to visit the Colombia embassy. And the day was so beautiful. I was just like so sunny, and I was just looking all the colors of the leaves. It was this time was my first experience in a 4-season country during the fall season. So for me, it was like the first time that I was just looking the green, yellow, red, and orange, and then I was like, huh, maybe I can use all of these colors to make a visualization. And then I remember that night, I just get to my house. I just get some data about the global land and ocean temperature. I made a draft, and then I was like thinking, maybe this is something that I can do, but I think it's very crazy. So I approach Ida in a Slack, and I just tell her like, I have this idea. What do you think about this? Do you think it's very crazy? And I never going to forget what she said. Nothing is too crazy in this project. She encouraged me to continue with this idea, and I was like, okay, I can do this. So the next day, I was like, I need to do this. I can continue with this idea, but there is a problem. I am too shy. I have to accept that I'm too shy to just go to the park and start collecting leaves. What are the people going to say about some guy just collecting the leaves? So I have to please notice that I was in another country. I wasn't even able to understand what was the people saying about me because I don't understand Turkish. So at that point, I just remember one of the main goals also in this project is to connect with your inner child. Like, don't care about what other people are saying about you. So I was just like, okay, I want to start planning this. I found one of the biggest parks in Istanbul. It's outside of the city. It's called Atatürk Arboretum. So I planned the perfect weather. I select the day. I just research about how to get there. But there was one problem. When I was just went there, I get my ticket, and they have some rules in the park, and it is forbidden to collect seeds, flowers, leaves, mushrooms, even if they have fallen into the ground. So you can imagine my disappointment at that point. And then I just take the opportunity to enjoy the park, to connect with the nature. It was very calm and relaxing, away from all the noisy that you can have from Istanbul. And the next day, I just decided to go a public park next to my house and collect all the leaves. And as you can see, I start grouping them in different bags, depending of the color. So after having all of the leaves, I start cutting them. For that, I create a grid. That grid, then I start like drawing it into the leaves, and then I start cutting all the leaves. And as you can see here, these are all the pieces that I use for the visualization. So one of the questions that I have since the beginning is how many leaves of each color I was going to need for this visualization. So for that, I use an histogram. So this histograms group all the temperatures that I was going to use. And this allows me to start selecting different colors for each bar. So for these two, I select variations of greens. For these two, variations of yellow, then orange, brown, and red. And it's the same colors that you can see here in the table. Then I start assigning some numbers. So I started from green to red. I started assigning the different numbers of the leaves. And at the same time, with the chart that I have from the years and the months, I start organizing them and make a rank with the different temperatures from the lowest to the highest, and start assigning the different numbers. So at the end, it was just like assembling the puzzle here. So as you can see, I was doing it by month. So I have like a template. I put it here all the years, and I was just like complete it every month. Then I was just like joining all the months, and this is the final visualization. So what I like about this picture here is to showcase the elements that I use for this visualization. So of course I use my computer, I use some plastic bags, I use some tape, a marker, a rule, scissors, 2 pages of a notebook, and of course all the leaves. And this is one of the pictures that I like the most about this project. And I really have to say that it really adds another dimension of making a visualization. So instead of waiting, for example, as a machine, as I was showing you before in my first draft, instead of waiting the machine to show you the colors of the heat map, in this case, you need to add every color by yourself. And you know that each color represents something for each year and each month. And the time that you have to stick the leaf into the page and just press it, it gives you like a time to reflect and ask some questions like, why is this green? Why is this yellow? Why is this red? So you can make different stories around this visualization. And also, it's also not easy to forget, and it really helps you with engagement when you are presenting the visualization to somebody else. So back when I was there, I just presented to my host when I was leaving, and he was like so surprised. He is not a data person, but he was just so surprised about all the textures that you can have in the different leaves and how they were arranged in these pages. And then I just explained to him, okay, now that you have here, these are the years, these are the months, and these are the temperature of the global temperatures recorder. And then he just started like exploring all the visualization, touching it, and maybe just asking some questions. And one of the points that called more my attention was the red part. So here is a final piece. I just add the years and the months and also the source of the data, and I try to explain to these red points that I used. There is only 3 red points. And I was very surprised because in 2016 we have February and March. And when I made the research, I found that it was caused by influenced by strong Niño conditions. And what is happening this year also, as you can see here, this is another warm September in 174 years. That is the whole range that this source have recorded the temperature. Is also due to the Niño conditions that begun in June and have continued until this month. And probably we are going to be in this condition until the spring of next year. So yeah, this is my visualization. I also have some takeaways. So this project really helps. It wasn't something that, as I told you, that I just woke up one day and just like start doing it. No, it was like a whole process of understanding what I was going to do, the different sources that I use at the beginning. So it really helps. Embrace the unconventional. I think I wasn't prepared for this. I never thought to doing something like this in the process, in this career path that I am building, and I'm so happy just to participate. Also connect with your inner child. Yeah, sometimes we have to let what other people think about us just start collecting the leaves and stay open to uncertainty and more with these projects. So as I show you, I just prepare the perfect day, the perfect route to go to collect the leaves. And I can imagine that there is going to be many challenges with data physicalization. So if you're going to do a workshop or if you're going to work with other people, collaborate with them, be aware that you have to prepare a backup plan or something like that to do this. And just to finish, a happy picture of me outside of the city of Istanbul with the visualization. So you can notice here the date. One of the things is that usually this date is very cold. I should be wearing clothes like the sweater or my coat, but the weather was so nice that day that I could just go outside like that. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, yeah, happy to reply to them.
Victor, I've got a question.
Yes.
Great presentation and great work. Has that changed the way you do traditional kind of dashboards? I don't know which tool you use for work. I don't know if it's Power BI, Tableau, or something else. The way that now you created something in physical aspect, using pen and paper and drawing, has it changed in your day-to-day kind of work?
with this project?
Yeah, that because now you presented, you participate, and you try something that you didn't know before. You never done data physical project before.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're back to your normal job and normal project using digital softwares. As the fact you got experience now, has it changed a bit that the way you create a normal dashboard changed a bit?
Well, I think it just opened me a new opportunity when I want to create a new way of engagement with my audience. I think something that allowed me this project was also to apply, as you can see in the different slides, I was just using steps of creative process. And what I did is that I use all this knowledge that I have in the digital visualizations in this visualization. And it was actually, for me, very easy to implement. But the way that the people interact with this visualization is different. So if I want to, I don't know, in the future, create something that I want people to remember, I'm not going to use a digital visualization. I will take more information or more resources to create something like this. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that was really great. I remember seeing this. I think it was just in the first pieces that came in, and I was just blown away. But I'm even more blown away, I think, by the story around it, which I find just fascinating. Like the process of how you came up with that. I always wonder where inspiration like that comes from. And I love the story that you told of that. Like, what do you think is, I want to say, the biggest challenge when it comes to kind of going outside of the box? And you mentioned some of the things already, but I'm wondering if there's anything else.
Apply or proceed with the idea. I mean, when I get this idea, I remember that I was in Ankara. I needed to come to Istanbul by train at night, and I was just like thinking about the idea, and I was like, no, this is too crazy for me. No, this is not going to work. But then I approached Aida, and I remember that just having this conversation with her, it was like, no, Victor, that's a really good idea. You should proceed with this idea. So sometimes it's more like, yeah, believe that that idea has something that is going to make an impact, and proceed with that idea. So I think it's that. Yeah.
I think that's
and also yeah, and also being organized with the habits. So it really helped me a lot. Then when I was making this presentation, I looked back at the dashboard that I have in Figma, and I could recognize, for example, from some of them, I was like, I took this idea from this one too. So it was very helpful to have something like that.
That's very cool. It's great. It was great to see the story behind it and how you know, even down to picking the leaves and then being in the park. Like, you know, it's just, I always wonder how people, how someone's mind like that works. So it's great to hear that. And thank you for sharing your story. I think we've got some great feedback in the chat as well, as you can see. So I'm wondering if anyone else has any questions for Victor that they want to ask. I'm sure there must be. Anyone else want to ask Victor anything? Anyone? Ada, do you have any questions, or who else do we have?
Maybe it's something that works maybe for both, also for Mandy. But for me, I think the most challenging part of data physicalization projects is that there is no refresh. So I think sometimes we forget the idea that if you don't plan perfectly right from the beginning, then you need to start finding workarounds. I think Mandy experienced this also. She explained in the story. And this constraint also opens new ways of thinking, because when you have cut all the leaves, if they don't fit, you need to find another way. You don't go back to the park and collect them again. Or when you already cut the bush, that's it. You have to find a new approach. And this made me feel like how valuable the refresh button is, but also how we lose the attention to the details, because everything is there all the time and you just refresh and you see it differently. But when you are building it with your hands and like you have to adapt to every error, every mistake, that makes you really, somehow you are very close to the data. You kind of know it by heart and you can find alternative options to any issues. I think that's valuable. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said stay open to uncertainty. And yeah, at the beginning, I was just planning like, okay, I'm going to do one big visualization, and then I was like measuring it in my hands, and then putting all the pages. It wasn't going to be like this. It was going to be bigger, but I wasn't okay. I don't have enough lift for that. I have to start restructure it. And then I found it's also very easy to carry with me. So yeah, I think this was a perfect measure for me. So yeah, when you're making these projects, you have to be open to all of this kind of stuff, that maybe you're going to need more material, you're going to need more time, you're going to break something is going to break, and yeah, you have to come with so many solutions. Yeah.
I think this may need to be like a regular thing for projects that we do, to have an option of, people creating something outside of the box. Because like you said, right, it's so much more, I think it can be incredibly impactful in how you deliver stories. So I think maybe for future projects, there should be a category where we, challenge people to come out, to create something out of the box, right? Because that story that you told about the family where you were staying at, and kind of showed them the visualization and the way that they interacted with that, I bet you that you wouldn't have gotten that result if it had just been a static thing on a dashboard, right? That would have been completely different.
Exactly.
It kind of speaks to what Ava was saying as well. So yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. That was great. I think if we don't have any other questions, then we're going to ask Mandy to share her project. Hi, Mandy. Thank you for joining us. You are based in the Netherlands, right? Or did I get that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Mandy has also done something green, but I'm gonna let her kind of show how she built it, and then we can kind of get into the process, and in case people have any questions. So do you want to share your video again? But this time we'll look at the whole thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So thanks, first of all, for having me here. I'm really excited to be here. And I'm almost a little bit intimidated to follow up after Victor's story, because his work was so inspiring and beautiful. And I also don't have as much of a presentation like he does. He was very prepared for this. I was planning on more so just telling you a little bit about my project and sort of taking you with me through my experience. I did indeed capture it on video as well, so I have a little bit of a glimpse to see the process as well. So maybe I can start off with that one. So let me share my screen. So hopefully, again, the sound works just like the last time when we tried it, but let me know, stop me if something goes wrong.
All right, so welcome to my little tiny backyard here. So my initial thoughts are kind of use this as like an area chart almost. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is indicate with paint where the cuts should be. So this is in no way gonna be exact, but it's gonna be an estimation. I've drawn one dot and it's already going great. Okay, so I've put my hair up for this next part because the next part scares me and I'm not very confident about it, but it's gonna happen.
That was a great video. I loved it.
Yeah, I had to condense everything into 1 minute to fit the guidelines. So I'll tell you a little bit more to give you a little bit more context on what happened. So I've personally been in data viz for a few years already, and data physicalization has always been very intriguing to me, but also a little bit intimidating and scary because that's definitely not like my field of expertise. And yeah, indeed, there's no control Z, so that's always very scary, like Ida was saying. So yeah, it's just never been something that I tried before. And then this project for Phys for Social Good came up, and I was like, okay, this is my chance. This is the sign. I need to get on board. I need to just try this out. I need to go for it. And I also like the topic of climate data, visualizing climate data, which is also always something I'm passionate about as well. But I had no inspiration. I literally had no clue what I was going to do. I wanted to participate so bad, but I had no idea. And then I think a few weeks in, like I still had no idea what I was going to do. And then a few weeks in, my landlord messaged me and he reminded me, he's like, remember those bushes that you have in your garden? You need to cut them before the spring, because that's just something I need to do every year so that they can regrow for the spring. I was like, oh, that's it. I got it. That's the perfect canvas. So I had these bushes that you saw, and I was like, okay, this works perfectly. As a blank canvas that I can use. And you know, what association do you have with cutting bushes? I was like, okay, deforestation, like that's very much closely related. So it could be like a living testimony almost of what the Amazon in this case is going through, because I remember having seen data on Amazon deforestation and it being back on the rise a little bit after it declining for quite some time, which obviously is very worrisome. And I was like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity to like share that message and be like, look what we're doing, it's back on the rise, watch out. So I was like, okay, I could use this as like an area chart almost, deforestation. And as I was cutting, I first made the markings, right, of where I should cut based on the data that I found online, from our world in data, by the way. But as I was cutting, I was like, okay, so now this feels a little weird because I have no context, right? I'm just seeing these bushes. And now the long parts of the bush, so where there's a lot of bushes, that's in my visualization signifies most deforestation, which seems a little counterintuitive, right? Like the fewer bushes you have typically would mean there's more deforestation because you cut more. So that would make more sense. I was like, oh, dang it, I should have inverted the graph so that it would make more sense. But at that point, I had already started cutting and I was like, oh no, I'm already too late. Indeed, there is no control Z, there is no refresh. I can't do anything. So how am I gonna fix this? I was like, okay, I have to continue. I just have to go with this idea that I first had. I can't go back now. So I was like, okay, maybe I can turn the graph upside down. I was like thinking all these like creative things, like how can I fix this problem that I made for myself? But then as I like was done with the final product, I was like, okay, yes, I just need to put like a layer on top of it and put some annotations. So like you saw, I put the axes and I put the labeling and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, now it makes sense. Now you can read the graph like you would a normal graph. So now it makes more sense and the issue seems less of a big problem. But indeed, when you're so deep into it and you're cutting and you're suddenly, oh my gosh, this doesn't make sense. I'm screwed. But luckily after I finished it up, it worked out fine, I think. And yeah. Indeed, it's called a happy accident. Definitely, yeah, pretty much. So that's in short my experience. I think I still have to go back into these bushes to actually cut them down, like my landlord wanted. So because it's not exactly what he expected, I think, when he asked me to cut the bushes. But yeah, I could actually go. Let me see if I can take you with me, because they're in my backyard. It's very cold out, so I'm not going to be outside for very long. For this,
oh, they're still there.
They're still there. I was like, I'm not going to cut them until this meeting today. So probably this weekend I'll cut them down like my landlord actually expected. But this is the result. It's a little messy, but yeah.
That was actually going to be my first question. Like, is it still there? And it is. You just have to. It seems like it's time to like cut it down. It's like it seems like something that you need to keep intact and keep trimming it. So No, that was good. I find it really interesting that it's like similar path to the end product almost, right? Because you obviously were not connected in any way, and you kind of had very similar experiences almost to kind of, you know, the not having the reset button and having to come up with something with what you have. And I think that's just amazing. And it makes me appreciate the work even more, knowing the story behind that. I really do. Like, by itself, it's amazing. It's great. But what makes it even better is the process behind that, and how you came up with that. That's my take anyway.
Mandy, that
So,
was fantastic. I just wanted
yeah.
to say, as you're talking, I'm drawing a lot of parallels, because imagine, like, with the last, few decades, people have been cutting down trees, right? You can't go back, you can't rewind. And now with all the climate change and sustainability and deforestation, and now everyone's trying to plant trees again, right? I was drawing that parallel when you said, once it's cut, I had to figure out what to do. And that's what the world's trying to do now, right? To figure out how to get all that climate sustainability back, and get the world's temperature reduced. So yeah, great parallels, and thank you for that. That was amazing.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of it that way, but you're totally right. It's a really nice parallel indeed.
I think maybe you should make sure that both of you share links to your work, because I'm sure, Victor, you posted something. Mandy, you have a really, really cool video, and I know there's a page somewhere. So make sure that you, if you wouldn't mind, drop that in the chat, because I don't have all of them by hand, because I'm sure people will want to go back to that and maybe even share, because I think both pieces were great. Does anyone have any questions for Mandy? I know, Ada, you kind of started something before, or I don't remember who it was.
I'm not sure.
No. Yeah, for me, maybe I'll ask the same question. I think, well, maybe we'll get the same answer. But the biggest challenge for you and kind of doing this beyond, the limitations of not having the reset button, what was that for you?
I think, as I already kind of mentioned as well, the start getting started, getting out of the boxes of what you're used to thinking in, and thinking outside of the box. It's always a challenge, right? So yeah, getting started, and like, okay, I have to physicalize, but what do I physicalize with? That was like my first struggle. Like, okay, I love the idea, I just don't know where to start. So another happy accident, actually, that my landlord messaged me and reminded me that I have these wishes that I could actually use. I think that, yeah, it's kind of a lame answer, but I think getting started, getting an idea of what to physicalize with was the most
It sounds like the idea of what you're visualizing kind of followed the, oh, I have grass here that I need to trim, right?
100%, 100%, yeah.
It's not, because usually it's the other way around.
Yeah.
But now you have this, Victor found leaves, you have had something growing in the garden that needs to be cut, and that's kind of what triggered the idea. So I'm already kind of thinking of how can you practice those kind of skills and that way of thinking, which I think is something that I'm really interested in understanding better how that works. But yeah, that's interesting.
You let the world around you guide what you're trying to visualize, rather than the data. Data is not the starting point in that sense.
I like that.
The topic more so.
Good. That's a good tagline right there. No, thank you for sharing with us, and don't cut it. Yeah, I agree. I think you should totally leave it and keep trimming it forever. I'm sure your landlord will appreciate that, and then maybe it'll become like an installation that people can visit.
Oh wow, that sounds fun. I need to find a way to draw these axes then, because right now it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. No, that was really, really cool. Thank you for sharing. I think, Ida, before you have something to show as well, but we had another entry which was from Damien Da Costa. He couldn't be here, but he made like a really short video of what he created. So you'll get to learn a little bit more. A slightly different topic, a little bit more about fracking, but I just want to show you the video of what he made because I think it's so cool. That I'm not sure. Do we still have Frederick on?
Yeah, I'm there, but the mom is
still
in bed. It's 1 o'clock yet, so
yeah, that's no. But how old is he again, Damien?
I think he's 8. He's a little kid, 8.
Right, it's a little kid. So he
Wow.
came up with something really cool that we just wanted to show everyone, because I think it's amazing that at that age you kind of come up with the data and the process and how am I going to put this together. It's a slightly different perspective. So I'm just going to pull up the video.
He should be awake at that time playing something, games.
Probably at that age. Let me just share that.
I think that's part of the data physicalization idea, that it's accessible.
Yeah.
Like there is no age. It's kind of easy to figure out things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think different ages, different levels of experience, different inspirations. I think it's amazing how I would love there to be a cookbook or a recipe for that so I could just take it and apply, but it's it's a process. I'm just going to share this. I think this is coming up okay, right? Well, it's a black screen with some dots on it, so we'll hope the audio was working before, so it should be fine. So there's the first part doesn't have any audio, and then there's some talking at the end, but it's really cool.
Fracking is the process of injecting liquid into rocks to push out fossil fuels like gas. Fracking causes lots of pollution, including radioactive waste. Even though we know it is bad for the environment and people's health, fracking continues. Actually, it will increase by 10% in the next 10 years. Each glass represents a year. This glass, which has 32 mils of glowing liquid, each mil is a unit of shale gas fracked worldwide. This glass is 2025. It holds 39 mils. This glass is 2028 and holds 53 mils. This glass is 2033 and it holds 90 mils.
Yeah, I just love that. It's like a little math professor. It's so cool that they came up with that. So I wish they could be here so we could, ask some questions. But yeah, we just wanted to make sure that we kind of give him a platform so he could show what he worked on. I think, Ida, we have one more. And I think that's something that you worked on with your family. So I'm just gonna pull up the slide, and then maybe you can tell a little bit the story about the process and how that came to be, because I think it was pretty neat too. So we're just gonna take the slide there for a second.
So this is actually something we did with the 5 and 6-year-old kids, Maeva and Daniel.
I think that's sorry, go ahead.
I'm just explaining why you put the slide, because like this we gain time. And I mean, the result is so I had an initial idea that was to use the footprint calculator, so that you ask the kids questions about how they live, what they eat, what they wear, what they buy, and then they would come up with some idea of physicalization. But I didn't realize that there are so many questions and there are so little that they could never keep track of the process. And I thought, okay, I will ask them all these ideas, and then with the materials they can create their ecological footprint. No, after the third question, they were totally fed up. They didn't want to hear more about this. So I proposed other data sets. And one was the greenhouse emissions of the different foods that we eat. and of transport. And one of them was very keen on transport, the other one on the greenhouse gas emissions. So Daniel Yaya, that he's 5 years old, did the one about the greenhouse gas emissions, and I let them pick the materials. Sorry. So we did this it's in a space that we have in our neighborhood to do activities with with neighbors. And then he was very keen on using these pom-pom balls, but they all have different sizes. So we had this conversation of, but like if you want to show the impact of beef, it's massive compared to the other foods. So you have to use the big ones. And then he was like, but what's the difference? So we had this whole conversation that I thought it was very interesting about the equivalence of 1 kilo of emissions versus 10 kilos of emissions. And then Maeva chose to use a cotton, like a big ball of cotton. And then she was like, I will make the little ball. So every ball represents, I don't know how much she put somewhere there in the notation. And then like at some point she was getting like tired of making balls, and they were all different sizes. And I was like, but don't you see that it's a problem? Now it looks like the train, no, the plane and the car, they contaminate the same. And she's like, that's right. And why do you think it's that? Because now they were smaller, now they are bigger. So I thought that all in all, it was a very nice exercise. First, because they asked themselves questions about that data that they didn't know before, because they're very young. And second, because they learned a little bit of visualization and how do you represent with size and so on. And at the end, they were very, very proud. They put their names, the sources, and they came up with something. So I was proud of them, even though my initial idea wasn't implemented. Thank you.
But look at what they created. I think it's beautiful. And I think it's more about it's a creative outlet, one, and it's also getting them to think about something that they might not, that's probably not even on their radars at that age. So I think that's a success. I'm assuming the footprint is yours?
Yeah, that was my demo for them. But no, totally uninterested in the footprint. It was too long, too many questions, too much data. Oof, no, thank you, Aida. So I said, okay, let's try something else. Yeah.
No, I think it's really, how did you, I love it, it's literal. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we should probably wrap up. We have our next guest speaker ready to go. That was great work, Ada. And kids.
How about that? We're on time. It's amazing. So I'm gonna stop sharing this. And do I put the slides up, or do you want to do that, Ada?
I don't think we need the slides because she will be sharing. So
okay. Do you want me to? So our next speaker is Valeria McFarren. As I mentioned earlier, I had the opportunity to attend Festival de Datos in Uruguay, and someone from Valeria's team, Jillian Randolph, did this amazing presentation, which is related to our topic about physicalization of data. So I'd like to introduce Valeria McFarren. She's a connector and social entrepreneur who's passionate about building partnerships using data and communications for social impact. Her multicultural upbringing experience in 72 countries, wow, allows her to connect with companies and individuals to discover personal identities. She's the president and founder of Chastity Global, and Valeria instilled her strength of communication, strategy, training, and project management, and her love for improving people's lives in every project she comes across. Valeria, your bio is just incredible, and you have twins, so I don't know how you do this. Wow. So I'm going to turn it over to you and take it away. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Wonderful. So thank you for that introduction, and honored to be here today. Want to share some examples that tie in really nicely to some of the other conversations that have been happening today on, how data can be used to improve the world. So we worked on just part of like Chasqui Global. I don't know if there's anyone in the group from Bolivia. I was born and raised there, and the Chasqui was the Incan messenger that delivered messages across the Incan Empire. And so we thought it was a great icon for the work that we do. And so we take that storytelling approach, and a data-driven approach to storytelling. And as part of that, we had this project with through the U.S. government and the Tanzania Data Lab that we helped establish. And a big part of it was to inspire people and get them to know how data can be used. And so the first piece was through listening campaigns and capturing the data, talking to different communities, especially in the peri-urban side of Dar es Salaam, one of the largest cities. And the piece there is that 64% of the population is under 24 years old. And so much of the population is extremely young, and trying to meet them where they are, and what attracts them, what gets to them, what inspires. And so realized that one of the main conduits and something that we could do there to attract youth and women especially was to really look at fashion, music, and art. And so after we captured that data, and we went to validate the information and capture insights and share the results with the actual communities. And we trained all these different students that were studying fashion with those data points. And we're like, hey, listen to what the communities are saying. These are some of the main priorities. These are some of the main problems that they're seeing. A lot of them had to do with physical abuse, especially of women, drugs, alcohol. Those were a lot of the different problems that they were seeing. And so we decided to then train them on how they could include that into their designs and put them into these traditional kangas, which are these cloths that are used there that are also like passed down through generations. You wear them, and a lot of them have different messages. And so by including those different messages, it could have that bigger impact because you're kind of wearing that art and wearing those data points. And so the winning design in this case was this one that is, if you keep quiet, they will make you cry. And 1 out of 2 married women are abused. And that's why there's the 2 colors repeated, the 2 hearts, because 1 out of 2. And at the bottom of the kanga, there was also a number to call if, you were being abused and needed help, needed assistance. And so how we then actualized it and brought it back to the communities and to bring that awareness was we created a fashion show. So we partnered with some of the best designers in Tanzania and did this fashion show, which was so different, because especially in so much of this development world, it's more like ribbon cutting or other things, and this was so out of the box. And there was videos and music that also had those data points that the musician had been trained on, and you could look around and everyone was nodding and being like, oh, I get it. Like, now I understand why this is important. And now I understand how that one data point, 50% of the people here could have been abused. It was really incredible to see it live that way and put into action, and in a really beautiful way. And from that spurred a lot of other ideas and inspiration. So we went back to the communities to bring back the kangas, to explain the winning design and share, that this is what you guys told us were the different pain points, and this is what we've done, and these are some of the other initiatives and services that are now going to happen because of what we heard here. And some of the different students that had been trained on this, and the fashion students, they then got hired to do these uniforms for some of the lodges, and they took a data-driven approach. They're like, when people come to Tanzania, what is it that they're mostly looking at? What do they come to see? And they're like, their Maasai, some of the artwork, and the mountains. So they designed this with that in mind. So taking that data-driven approach for their designs in terms of doing the outfits for the lodges. And so it was really neat to see how data could be more actionable and worn and inspire people to do more. As part of that, what we also did then in Guyana was data collection with women, especially in seeing their access to telecom and internet. And these surveys tend to happen a lot, and you need to balance the making sure that they know where the information is going, and doing that feedback loop. And so these were some of the different women from across the country that were part of the different listening campaigns. And then we created this infographic that then each of the different points helped other partners and other donors like the IADB and others to then be like, oh shoot, okay, this is a big problem. There's a lot more need for especially women to have access to technology. There's this desire for them to and be more connected and get some of these different skills. And so I know we are constantly doing reports and all these things, but by having these more infographic summaries and such, and really honing in on the information, we can really inspire action and really be able to narrow it down. One of the things that we didn't get to do because of funding was we were going to put these data points also on benches across the city, so that then you could also more live that art and see those data points. Because then when you're outside, sometimes that's when you get to really reflect and be like, wow, that's crazy, I had no idea. And we did that similarly. I live in Charlottesville, Virginia, and through our local United Way, we created this mural with some of the different data points that we had captured. Because there's this dichotomy that it's voted as one of the happiest places to live, but then it's also some of the most difficult to climb the economic ladder. And so those different perspectives. And so by having it out there, it really allows for people to reflect, to look at it, and to engage with it. And similar then to in Madagascar, we did a project there, and they took in the data points for fashion, similar to what we did in Tanzania. And in this case, especially for women and trans who were dealing with a lot of abuse. And so it's by putting these data points and this information in different modality that then it really inspires action, and by thinking outside the box and taking outside of where you usually see them has been really helpful. And so, a big part of, our mission, what we love doing is making that data actionable. And so sharing these different insights and things that have worked with that for us to inspire making more of this data actionable. And if you have any questions, ideas, we have a lot of different toolkits and things that were created as part of the project, especially in Tanzania. So happy to share that. If you have any questions, happy to answer.
Thank you, Valeria. You can hear me? Yes. That's such an interesting project, the wearables. I would love to know about the printing process. Like, how does it work? Do they do it locally, or like, how does that work in practice to print those patterns and create the clothes and so on?
Yeah, that was all done locally. That's such a big part of the culture and what they do, these kangas. And so they print them locally, and we printed several thousand, and it was really, and since they're passed down through generations, it's really neat to see that they're still being used. And
because I think that's something that would be so difficult to do in Europe, for example. It's so hard to find a place where you can send a pattern that you have designed with data, and then that you get it printed and clothes are created from it. So it's really nice to see this. Thank you.
That was incredible. Like, how does your team find the inspiration or get the ideas? Because it's, you know, just as we saw earlier, it's very difficult. You have to think out of the box, right, to create physical data representations, especially on clothing.
Yeah, and it really, so much of it was also the local team that we worked with, that we partnered with, you know, that it was like, let's think outside the box, let's do something completely different and meet youth where they are. And you know, that's where music and fashion, and they even had we also did these like radio shows and bringing data into the streets. And so we had a radio show interviewing people on the streets. And so it really was a lot of different means that were really thinking outside the box and trying to meet youth where they were.
That's fantastic, especially when you think about data literacy, which is, you know, a life skill for everyone. Demonstrating or showing data outside of just, you know, the typical charts and is very powerful. So, you know, have you been able to sort of measure the impact of some of the work that was done?
There's been a lot of different projects that our local partner has continued doing some interesting pieces of this. Yeah, we did some impact evaluations in terms of seeing those different effects. And yeah, it has been really neat to see that, especially that data awareness. And it's thanks to this program that we started the first Masters in Data Science in East Africa through the Tanzania D-Lab. And it was through these different engagements that we saw that excitement and that eagerness on both digital skills, but then also data. And yeah, and that, you know, Masters in Data Science is going really well. It's continued. A lot of that excitement is there. And so, yeah, and also, especially on the digital piece, especially during COVID, you know, it kind of, all the people that we were able to work with and train, they continued having jobs and they continued having different opportunities. So it really validated that need of bridging that digital divide.
Well, that's great. And Ada, you know, I'm thinking on a future project, perhaps we can collaborate with Valeria on the project digitally, but also looking at how do we physicalize the data. I think that would be fantastic. And Marion, I think you mentioned that as well, right? We should try these for projects because it's just takes your thinking just so differently than you're used to digitally.
And we could also add the constraint of you cannot use statistical charts. You need to come up with a different visual vocabulary. That's also very powerful together with the wearables. I really like the idea.
I love that.
I think it creates, I think it's more impactful almost and creates a completely different experience from what you would normally like traditionally build. And I think the two combined, I think that could be very, very positive. I think absolutely we should do more of that next year. I would like that to be become a special category that we do every year, just kind of show people what you can actually do when you tell stories with actual physical objects and how people interact with that, and you create this completely different experience, and it's a different way of getting your message across, which I think is very powerful.
Yeah.
There is also the factor of how you are situating the data in the context. That's beautiful because it's part of the culture. It's a wearable that they use, that they inherit, and it's their own data. That's priceless. You cannot do that in any dashboard, really.
Yeah, that localization piece and that ownership was so important. And then that feedback loop of them being like, oh, it wasn't just another project that they asked me questions and do a survey and we have no idea where it goes to. You know, there was like that feedback loop, which continued building that trust, which was so important.
Amazing. Do we have any other questions or any other volunteers want to comment? I know, Victor, if you're still online, what your thoughts, since you actually did a project with leaves? Or maybe he's dropped. So.
think it's been too much.
No, I'm still here. No.
There he is.
No, it's just I'm amazed. Well, actually, with this kind of projects, my mother, she's working in design, but in fashion, and I was always wondering if I can make a visualization project with her. And she, yeah, now just looking at this is like another way or another inspiration. Like maybe in the future I can just call my mom and it's like, I have this idea, maybe you can help me. And yes, it will be nice to do something like that. So I really, really like the project. And yeah, it's more inspiration sources that we are having right now here to the future projects that we can develop. And the message behind it is, yeah, very inspiring. Just like wearing something, like now I feel meaningless with wearing just this shirt. So
Thank you,
thank you
Victor.
very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think that that's a wrap. Valeria, thank you so much. I'm super impressed both with yours and the presentation that Jillian did a few weeks ago. I know she only had 6 minutes, so she was like, can I get more time because there's so much to talk about? So I totally understand why. But thank you, and absolutely, I'll be in touch. Looking forward to partnering with you on some future initiatives. I think this is going to be a thing now. So,
wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
having me. And any questions, please feel free to reach out. Any resources, yeah, happy to share.
all right, awesome. Well, have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.
And Marian.
Yeah, I think we're going to take a little break now, right? Or
Yes.
did I miss the